I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and it's been a little bit since I've said that. I kind of dropped the ball with Astros content recently. I think it's been like 3 weeks since I've made an Astros video, which is really sad. I feel really bad about that. So today we're going to take a minute to discuss George Springer and the rumored contract that he's seeking. So the rumor is that George Springer, the outfielder for the Astros, the center fielder for the past 6 years, is reportedly seeking a 5 to 6 year contract worth $140 to $150 million. So that's a lot to process. Now, that's not a super long deal, which granted at 30 you can't ask for like a 10-year deal or anything, obviously. The 140 to 150 at first kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, whoa, okay, 150? But then you break it down, that's about 25 a year, which is right about where back when I made the off-season video, or like the first week, or the first off-season video that I made. That's right about where I said I wanted to pay him. If we could get him from like anywhere from 20 to 25 million per year, I'm content. I'm good. So if he said to us, I want 5 years, 125, or 6 years, 150, I'm all good with that. I'm content with paying him that amount of money. Now, the reason I'm okay with paying him that amount of money is his statistics. George Springer is a fantastic baseball player, no matter how you want to slice it. He is a great on-field player. He's a great on-field presence because he hypes everyone up and he seems to be a fantastic teammate. And he's a great off-the-field player because it seems like he's just a great person overall. All the Astros seem to love him, and granted this isn't an actual statistic, but you never really have to be fearful waking up to hear some crazy George Springer news that's like, oh, he did something really bad. He seems to be a completely stand-up, good guy. And that's sort of an intelligible that you can't look at, but what we can look at is statistics and numbers, which is my favorite thing to do. So, in 2019, to get into this, the 2019 season, George Springer had a bit of injury issues and played 122 games. And in those 122 games, his triple slash, which is batting, on base, and slugging, was 292 batting, 383 on base, and a 592 slugging percentage for a 974 on base. That's real, or OPS, excuse me. That's really, really good. If you're teetering and almost breaking that 1,000 threshold, you're a fantastic player. You're a no-brainer all-star. You're a great, great player. He had a 150 OPS plus, which is league, park, and era adjusted, so that's also very good. He had 39 home runs, which is really good. And especially from the leadoff position, that's insane. He had 12 defensive runs saved. I believe of his 6.4 WAR for that season, I think it was 1.2 of them were defensive, which for reference, Kevin Kiermaier, who won the Gold Glove that season for center field, had 1.7, which granted is a lot more, but he's still a plus defender. Along with that, the WAR value, which, if you don't know what this is on Fangraphs. It is the approximation of what a team would pay on the open market for your value. This is a very crude estimate, but it's about $8 million per win above replacement. So, his 2019 would, on the average, with this on open market, would have garnered a $52 million year for George Springer, where he finished in 7th in the MVP voting. That's fantastic. George Springer was great in 2019. 2020 took a step back, but most players took a step back. I mean, 2020 was a rough year for a lot of teams. Anyway, so George Springer in 51 games had a 265 batting average, which isn't great, but the on base I do appreciate at 359, which you might say, well, less than 359 isn't great. And I said, that's almost a 100-point markup. That's good enough for me. And his slugging was 540, which is pretty good. His total OPS was 899, and an OPS plus of 140, which, like I said, is league and park adjusted, and in 51 games had 14 home runs. All of that is to say, George Springer is a really, really good player, and the Astros need to find a way to bring him back. They just have to. And here's the thing. The past few off seasons, we haven't really made any big market, big key free agent signings. Not even, middling free agent signings. Well, Brantley was that, but that was about it. And the issue I have with this is we've sort of, as fans, accepted the past few years that we weren't bringing in big marquee free agents because we wanted to keep the Beatles together. We wanted to keep Springer, Correa, Bregman, and Altuve. And we were all content with that. Like, I'm totally fine, and I have been the past few years, not bringing in any big-name free agents or big names because we want to keep the band together. I'm fine with that. But now it's time to pay one of the band members. It's time to pay George Springer. And for some reason, the Astros right now are just kind of sitting on their hands. And I don't know if it's that because We don't want to pay him that amount of money. Like, we were hoping he would give a hometown discount to the Astros. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if James Click, for some reason, is wanting to try to turn the Astros into like the Houston variation of the Tampa Bay Rays, where we just kind of try to build from different players and just bring in whoever we can to squeeze some more out of them and then trade them or let them go. I hope that's not it, and I understand you might say, well, Weston, the Rays are very successful. I understand that, but I get very emotionally attached to baseball players, and I would not survive if that's how the Astros ran their organization. So, I don't know what's happening. What I can tell you is that after the rumors on the contract came out, it seems like the Blue Jays are very, very far away from him in contract negotiations. So it might be a contest now, essentially, because I'm assuming there's not been any reports saying it, but I mean, come on, the Astros are obviously in on this. I'm assuming it's between the Astros and the Mets, which, if that's just what it is, we got to find a way to do it. He is a plus defender, he's a fantastic offensive player, and he's a key contributor to this franchise. Beside that, he won the World Series MVP. You gotta find a way to get him the money. Here's the thing. They're intelligibles, obviously, and I already mentioned, like the statistics. He's a very good bat, he's a very good glove. But there's also he's a team player. Everyone seems to love him on the team. He has no off-field issues, he has no on-field issues. He is your classic superstar who's also a great guy. So, in conclusion, the Astros got to find a way to bring this guy back. I wanted to discuss it a little bit because, the contract money and years and, all that rumors were floating about, and I wanted to at least touch on them and sort of weigh in my opinion, which is send a dump trunk full of money to his home, along with signing papers and a nice little pen. So, if we can't do that, though, which I fear we might not, the first phone call within a minute we got to make is to Michael Brantley and lock him up. I don't care what it takes. We can't go into next year with an outfield that's, Miles Straw in center, maybe Kyle Tucker in right, maybe Aledmus Diaz in left or Jordan, and maybe Chas McCormick comes up. But the thing about Chas McCormick, and here's the thing, we'd have to make an outfield of players that are pretty much already at the major league level, because the minor league players haven't played baseball since 2019. It'll be going on almost 2 years by the time the season starts. So we kind of got to bring back George Springer, which maybe that gives him an upper hand. But we've also let other little outfielders who are pretty good value just kind of slip through us, which has been very irritating. So, like I already said, give him all the money, bring this guy back. Great player for the Astros. It's really all I have. I'm still hoping to do another Astros video before too long. And I just want to say before I let you all go, Happy New Year almost. It's New Year's Eve. And it's going to be very nice. I know not everything is going to go away, and I know that not everything is going to be perfect, as soon as the clock strikes midnight tonight. But I think we can all agree it's going to be very nice to turn the page on this year. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. Pay George Springer all the money. And as always, go Stros.